Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. Well, we've all seen the numbers. America's students aren't keeping pace with those from other industrialized countries. And this comes at a time when the job market is increasingly global and international competition for work only grows. That's why, in 2009, the National Governors Association began an effort to both raise educational standards while also making them more uniform. It's called Common Core, and it's where we begin today.
Well, Rob, Common Core is a hot topic, not only in Oklahoma, but nationwide. Now, all but 5 states have adopted all or some of the standards of Common Core. And as for Oklahoma, the standards were adopted in 2010, and full implementation is scheduled for the 2014-2015 school year. And with the deadline quickly approaching, some are still wary of the potential effects.
We want to make sure the No Child Left Behind Act continues to work.
From President Bush's No Child Left Behind.
America will not succeed in the 21st century unless we do a far better job of educating our sons and daughters.
To President Obama's race to the top, America's educational system has remained a hot topic for years. But now, a whole new reform is rocking the nation. Common Core.
74, K equals.
Kids need to be able to think on their feet these days and to be ready for all of the new content that comes along, and so we've got to equip them with that level of knowledge.
Jana Barisi is Oklahoma's superintendent for public instruction and says Oklahoma already has certain standards in place.
The College and Career Ready Standards, the Oklahoma Academic Standards, is a set of rigorous standards that is teaching kids how to think and how to solve problems.
And problem solving is something that Stillwater Public Schools Superintendent Ann Kane says is at the heart of Common Core.
Process is a big word when we're talking about Common Core. It's not about regurgitating math facts. It's not about regurgitating states and their capitals. We need to be able to teach kids, our students, how to research, how to be problem solvers, everything that we hear from the business world. Those skills, that is what makes up Common Core.
And Kane says when students enter the workforce, they should already have the right skills in hand.
It's those things that you can't put in a textbook, but that business owners expect our students to enter the workforce with. They don't need to spend their tight resources developing these skills that our students should already have.
Obviously kind of tough, but do we train kids or
Yet Common Core remains highly controversial, and rumors continue to surface.
If you are a business
and at a forum sponsored by KOSU, listeners voiced their opinions.
standards vary?
I like the idea that in Oklahoma we're adopting standards that are comparable to those throughout the nation. I like the idea that a student can go from one state to the next and, be expected to be on the same level from grade to grade.
In Oklahoma, we're going to adopt.
Amanda Ewing was one of many concerned citizens at the event and says Common Core is necessary.
We are not going to adopt this sign.
I think that, a lot of work has gone into developing Common Core standards. I think that, the vast majority of this country, the overwhelming majority of this country has decided to adopt these standards, including Oklahoma.
Yet some believe one size does not fit all. Stephen White says Common Core may well raise standards, but at what cost?
I look at the Korean and Japanese model. They blow us away in test scores, okay? But get a sincere question from a child who had a tiger mom, they hate their childhood. I mean, if they're talking to you sincerely, they got great grades, but they hate their childhood. Why? Because everything was dictated every minute of the day.
Yet, despite opposition, Governor Mary Fallin signed an executive order that supplements Common Core standards in education and says these standards are not about federal control.
Well, the National Governors Association many years ago started looking at the competitiveness of the United States and how do we have standards in the United States of knowledge, a knowledge-based society. And that's what Common Core is about, is the basic skill sets a student needs so they can be successful, whether they enter into college or enter into the workforce.
And while Governor Fallin puts her support behind Common Core, some here at the state capitol aren't quite so sure.
What do you mean by Common Core? A lot of people say, well, they're just standards. Well, if you change the standards, you change the testing. You change the testing, you have to change the curriculum. You change all that, you change how you evaluate teachers.
Representative Gus Blackwell is the author of one of 7 bills written to change or repeal Common Core, and says there are good and bad components to the standards.
I would say there's definitely advantages and disadvantages, but we have to look at those and weigh them and see how can we take maybe what's good, but also keep it within the realm of Oklahoma control.
Control some fear could be lost.
We just believe that Common Core is just homogenizing of American education. They really weren't even interested.
Jenny White is with Restore Oklahoma Public Education and says Common Core stifles educational vision.
It's not going to allow the creativity and innovation that we've seen on a national level, where each state has been allowed to design their own educational standards.
A key reason behind Common Core is to create uniform learning nationwide, something Fallin says is vital.
Say if you moved from Ohio to California or vice versa, and your student was in the 10th grade in one state, but you get to the other state and all of a sudden you find out your student's in the 9th grade. You know, that would be a terrible thing for not only the student but certainly for the family, and certainly a disservice to our economies and our communities.
Yet White says such uniformity is unnecessary.
Do we really all want to be on the same standard? Is New York the same as Oklahoma? Is California the same as Oklahoma? Why would you want to educate children exactly the same when the children are not exactly the same and the circumstances inside states are not exactly the same?
Yet proponents say everyone should be educated about this educational reform.
Go out to where Common Core is being implemented correctly in the schools. Watch what it looks like in a classroom. Talk to teachers, talk to principals, talk to parents who have seen a positive impact in their children. I think the whole tone would change.
Outside, your 5 goes outside.
Now, it's important to note that while full implementation is approaching, the process will be ongoing, and officials say to successfully put Common Core standards into action, it will take time and patience.
You know, one of the most common arguments I've heard about Common Core is that it will implement federal standards on what were state standards. What do you hear?
Rob, that is the #1 argument I hear opposing Common Core, and there are a lot of arguments opposing that. Some people don't want to be told how to teach, others say it's too expensive. But it's important to know that the federal government is actually prohibited by law from telling states what or how to teach.
You know, there's certainly a lot of opinions out there, a lot of ideas, a lot of information, and frankly, a lot of misinformation.
That's right, Rob. It's very important to be well educated about this issue, and there's a lot of information out there, some reliable, some not. But we have a link on our website for the Common Core webpage. Just go to okhorizon.com to check it out. You know, it's really a complicated issue, and it's going to have folks talking about it for quite some time.
All right, Andy, appreciate the report, and we will know you will be following it as it's implemented. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Now, when we return, I sit down with Oklahoma's Secretary of Education and Workforce Development.